Gene Wilder, a beloved icon of classic cinema, brought charm, wit, and eccentricity to every role he played. From his unforgettable performances in films like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Young Frankenstein, and Blazing Saddles, Wilder was known not just for his comedic genius, but also for the emotional depth he brought to his characters. Yet, one particular scene, subtle in its impact but profound in its consequences, marked a turning point, perhaps even the quiet end of his acting career. The scene came in the 1991 film, Another You, co-starring Richard Pryor. This was the fourth and final collaboration between the two comedy legends. Unlike their previous films that had audiences roaring with laughter, Another You was plagued by production issues, script rewrites, and an overall lack of creative cohesion. The chemistry that once sparked magic on screen felt forced and tired, but it was one specific moment in the film when Wilder's character, George, is having a disjointed, frantic conversation in a hotel lobby that critics and fans alike noticed something off. His performance, usually full of life, appeared strained. The timing was off, the sparkle in his eyes dimmed, and the usually precise comic delivery faltered. That single scene seemed to confirm what many had feared. Gene Wilder was no longer at his best. While not a terrible performance by ordinary standards, it was a far cry from the brilliance he was known for. For an actor who set his own bar so high, anything less than excellence stood out. More importantly, Wilder himself felt it. He later expressed disappointment with the film and frustration over the experience. He sensed the shift his instincts, which had guided him so well through his golden years, were telling him that it was time to step back. What made this moment even more significant was the contrast it offered to his earlier work. In films like The Producers and Silver Streak, Wilder displayed a range and originality that had few equals. By comparison, the scene in Another You was not only uninspired, it seemed almost like a reluctant farewell. And in many ways, it was. Though he didn't officially retire from acting until years later, Gene Wilder never took on another leading film role after that. Rather than continue on a downward slope, Wilder chose to walk away quietly. He retreated from the spotlight and focused on writing, spending time with his wife, and eventually living a life of quiet dignity away from Hollywood's relentless pace. Looking back, that one scene in Another You didn't just reflect a faltering performance, it marked the moment when Gene Wilder, with grace and self-awareness, recognized that his era in film had come to an end. Though that scene may have signaled the conclusion of his career, it in no way diminished his legacy. Wilder remains a treasured figure in film history, remembered not for how he left, but for the joy, laughter, and heart he gave the world during his time on screen.